1. Harriet Tubman. In the dark nights of the South, when enslaved people relied only on the stars, Harriet Tubman led the way with memory and sheer will. From a runaway, she became a legend of the Underground Railroad, guiding dozens to freedom. She later led the Combahee River Campaign in 1863, freeing more than 700 people in a single night, an achievement unmatched by any woman of her time. After the war, she fought for women's suffrage, turning her life into a symbol of resilience and liberty. 2. Franklin D. Roosevelt. During the shadows of the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke through the radio, restoring faith for millions who had lost everything. His New Deal rebuilt the nation, bringing electricity, jobs, and hope. When World War II began, he became a steady pillar, leading America from Pearl Harbor to victory. He was the only president elected to 4 terms, his wheelchair never stopping his steel resolve. Roosevelt passed away during the war, but his image endures as the leader who guided the nation through its darkest hours. 3. Thomas Edison. Inside his Menlo Park workshop, the light never went out. Thomas Edison worked through thousands of experiments, from burnt-out filaments to the first glowing bulb. People called him the Wizard of Menlo Park, holder of more than 1,000 patents. From the phonograph that captured voices to the motion picture camera that launched a new era, Edison did more than invent. He built the electrical industry that illuminated the world. His persistence turned failure into stepping stones, making him a lasting symbol of American determination. 4. Ulysses Grant. When the smoke cleared at Appomattox, Ulysses S. Grant stood before Robert E. Lee, accepting the surrender that ended the Civil War. From an unknown officer, Grant rose to commanding general, known for his relentless strategy and unyielding resolve. As president, he defended the rights of newly freed African Americans, enforcing laws against the Ku Klux Klan. Though scandals touched his administration, Grant is remembered as the general who reunited the Union. On his tomb, his name remains tied to victory and unity. 5. Mark Twain. Samuel Langhorne. Clemens chose the pen name Mark Twain, a river term meaning 2 fathoms safe water. With wit and satire, he revealed post-war America through the mischievous lives of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Twain was more than a writer. He was a journalist, a traveler, a speaker, spreading laughter in times of hardship. From the Mississippi to the world stage, he became the father of American literature. His humor carried deep truth, proving that laughter can shine a light on society's flaws. 6. Susan B. Anthony. In 1872, Susan B. Anthony cast her ballot, and soon after, the police knocked on her door. Arrested and fined, she never stepped back. Throughout her life, Anthony fought for women's rights and the abolition of slavery. Alongside Elizabeth Cady Stanton, she formed the National Woman Suffrage Association, turning equality into a national movement. When she passed, the dream was still unfinished. Nearly 2 decades later, the 19th Amendment became law. Her portrait on the silver dollar remains a reminder that justice requires sacrifice. 7. George Washington. As the smoke of the American Revolution lingered, George Washington became the face of a new nation. He led his troops through the harsh winter at Valley Forge, then secured victory at Yorktown, forcing Britain to surrender. As the first president, Washington refused lifelong power, stepping down after 2 terms. His decision shaped American democracy. Today, on currency, monuments, and oaths of office, Washington endures as the founding father, a model of humble leadership and eternal freedom. 8. Walt Disney. A small mouse with round ears changed world culture forever. Walt Disney, once a poor young artist, created Mickey Mouse and built a global entertainment empire. He brought groundbreaking animation and timeless stories, and he turned imagination into reality with Disneyland, the place where happiness lasts forever. More than 50 years after his passing, the laughter of children in Disney parks stands as living proof of his enduring legacy. 9. Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, a fiery yet fearless general, rose to fame at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, where he defeated the British. Entering the White House, he called himself a man of the people, challenging elites and expanding voting rights for common citizens. But his presidency remains marked by controversy. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced thousands of Native Americans from their homes, beginning the Trail of Tears. Jackson remains a dual figure, both a populist hero and a stark reminder of the costs of power. 10. Frederick Douglass. Born into bondage, Frederick Douglass stole literacy from torn scraps of books. Each word became a weapon of freedom. He escaped and wrote Narrative of the Life, a memoir that shook the nation. With a commanding voice, he lectured across the country. He founded the newspaper, The North Star, advocating for equality and education. Douglass advised presidents and fought for the voting rights of women and African Americans. His life proved that knowledge can break chains, turning a boy in slavery into an eternal voice for freedom. 11. Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright. On a cold, windy day in Kitty Hawk, 1903, Orville Wright lifted off in a fragile wooden craft, staying in the air for 12 seconds. Beside him, Wilbur recorded the moment that opened the age of human flight. The two bicycle makers from Ohio not only built a flying machine, they invented the three-axis control system, the foundation of all airplanes that followed. With the Wright Company, they turned dreams into industry. From simple sails to the open skies, the Wright brothers became symbols of curiosity and limitless ambition. 12. Martin Luther King Jr. Before hundreds of thousands in Washington in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. declared, "I have a dream." That dream began when he led the Montgomery bus boycott, challenging segregation laws. Choosing nonviolence, he used compassion as his weapon. In 1964, King received the Nobel Peace Prize, becoming a global symbol of justice. When he was killed in Memphis, his words still echoed. His life was short, yet his voice remains carved into the heart of America. 13. John F. Kennedy. On November 22, 1963, gunfire in Dallas silenced a speech never finished. John F. Kennedy, the youngest elected president, left behind the enduring image of youth and renewal. He faced the Cuban Missile Crisis, preventing nuclear war, and launched the space program to land Americans on the moon before the decade's end. Kennedy created the Peace Corps, inspiring a generation to serve. His sudden death turned him into legend, remembered as a symbol of unfulfilled hope and bold ambition. 14. Alexander Graham Bell. On March 10, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell picked up a receiver and said, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." It was the first telephone call, opening a new era of communication. Born in Scotland, Bell moved to America, fascinated by sound. He taught language to the deaf, including Helen Keller. 1 year later, he founded the Bell Telephone Company, laying the foundation for modern telecommunications. From a small room, his invention connected the planet. Bell is remembered as a symbol of creativity, compassion, and the drive to overcome distance. 15. Abraham Lincoln. A poor boy from Kentucky, self-taught by firelight, rose to the nation's highest office. Abraham Lincoln led the Union through the storm of Civil War when the country was torn apart. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, striking at the heart of slavery. His Gettysburg Address, only 272 words, became a timeless symbol of liberty and equality. When Lincoln fell at Ford's Theater, he was seen as a martyr for unity. His name remains forever linked to resilience and the democratic dream. 16. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Before dawn on D-Day, Dwight D. Eisenhower wrote a note accepting full blame if the invasion failed. But as the sun rose, Allied forces stormed Normandy, opening the road to victory in World War II. Eisenhower, the calm general, later became the 34th president. He built the interstate highway system, ushering in modern America. When the civil rights movement grew, he sent troops to protect black students in Little Rock. Eisenhower endures as a figure of strategy, restraint, and faith in the power of unity. 17. Benjamin Franklin. A kite rose into a storm in 1752, proving lightning was electricity. Benjamin Franklin was a printer, a scientist, a diplomat, a rare genius of many talents. He invented the lightning rod, bifocal glasses, the Franklin stove, and published Poor Richard's Almanac across the colonies. During the Revolution, Franklin persuaded France to join the American cause, paving the way to victory. He helped draft both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. His life showed how curiosity and patriotism could shape a nation. 18. Henry Ford. In 1908, the Model T rolled out, turning cars from a luxury into a household staple. Henry Ford did not invent the automobile, but he made it accessible through the moving assembly line in 1913. With his policy of $5 a day, he raised workers' living standards and set a new benchmark for American labor. Ford ushered in the industrial age, where speed and mass production defined progress. Though his personal views stirred controversy, Ford remains a symbol of innovation that reshaped the modern world. 19. Thomas Jefferson. In a small room in 1776, Thomas Jefferson wrote the words that birthed a nation: "All men are created equal." As the third president, he doubled America's territory with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. He sent Lewis and Clark westward and later founded the University of Virginia. His legacy carries contradictions, as he owned enslaved people, yet he is remembered as the enlightened mind behind the Declaration of Independence and the leader who expanded a young republic across a continent. 20. Theodore Roosevelt. With a booming voice and fierce energy, Theodore Roosevelt entered the White House at 42, the youngest president in history. Known as the Trust Buster, he challenged powerful corporations. His square deal sought fairness for workers, businesses, and society. Passionate about nature, he signed the Antiquities Act in 1906, laying the foundation for national parks. Roosevelt even received the Nobel Peace Prize for mediating the Russo-Japanese War. He is remembered as a symbol of strength, reform, and the bold American spirit.